Imagine a massive stone city, built without a single drop of mortar, hidden deep in the heart of Africa. A place so advanced, so mysterious, that European explorers refused to believe Africans built it. This is the story of Great Zimbabwe, a lost civilization that once controlled gold, trade, and power across the continent. Today, we uncover its secrets, one stone at a time. How does a civilization build the largest ancient stone structures south of the Sahara, without modern tools, without mortar, and without leaving a single written word to explain it? This is the central enigma of Great Zimbabwe. The answer lies in the incredible ingenuity of its people. The story begins around the 11th century. On a high plateau between the Zambezi and Limpopo rivers, ancestors of the modern Shona people began to build. What started as a small settlement would, over the next 300 years, blossom into a sprawling metropolis of stone. From a distance, it must have looked like a fortress carved from the earth itself. The builders used the local granite, a rock that naturally splits into uniform slabs. They became masters of dry stone walling, a technique that requires immense skill and patience. The masons would heat large granite boulders with fire, then rapidly cool them with water, causing the rock to crack along its natural fault lines. Then, with painstaking effort, they would shape these blocks and stack them with mathematical precision. No mortar was needed. The sheer weight of the stones and the expert interlocking patterns held the walls together, creating structures that have withstood the test of time for nearly 1,000 years. Standing before these walls today, you feel something powerful, a tangible connection to the past. It's a humbling reminder that greatness doesn't require modern technology, only vision, skill, and unity. The city of Great Zimbabwe is divided into 3 main parts, each telling a piece of its story. First, there's the hill complex. Perched atop a steep granite hill, this was the oldest part of the city and likely served as its spiritual and royal center. Imagine the king, a ruler believed to be a divine intermediary, receding era, overlooking his kingdom below. This was the seat of power, a sacred space reserved for the elite. From this vantage point, the rulers could watch over the trade routes and the sprawling city. The narrow, winding passages leading up the hill were not just for access. They were a defensive marvel. Any approaching enemy would be forced into single file, making them vulnerable to defenders positioned above. It was a natural fortress, enhanced by human genius. Then, down in the valley, lies the structure that has captured the world's imagination: the Great Enclosure. This is the largest single ancient structure in sub-Saharan Africa. Its outer wall is over 800 feet long and reaches heights of 36 feet. Think about that for a moment. A wall built by hand, stone by stone, soaring 3 stories high. What was its purpose? It wasn't a fortress in the military sense. The walls have no battlements, no arrow slits. Instead, archaeologists believe it was a symbol of royal power and prestige, a private residence for the royal family, perhaps the queen and her court. Inside its massive elliptical walls were numerous smaller enclosures and huts made of daga, a type of clay and gravel mixture. Life here would have been a world away from the common folk outside. The most enigmatic feature within the Great Enclosure is the conical tower. Standing about 30 feet tall, its purpose remains a complete mystery. It's a solid structure, with no internal rooms or chambers. Some theories suggest it represents a grain bin, a symbol of the king's ability to provide for his people and a sign of good harvests and prosperity. Others propose a more symbolic, perhaps phallic, meaning related to fertility and the continuation of the dynasty. It stands silent, a stone question mark at the heart of the city, inviting us to guess its secrets. Finally, spreading out from these 2 main complexes was the Valley Complex. This was the urban center, home to the majority of Great Zimbabwe's population, which may have reached as many as 20,000 people at its peak. This was a bustling city, filled with the homes of merchants, artisans, and common laborers. The remains of their circular daga huts, surrounded by smaller stone walls, paint a picture of a vibrant and organized society. It was here that the daily life of the kingdom unfolded, the sounds of crafting, trading, and community filling the air. So, how did this incredible city sustain itself? The answer is gold. The region was rich in gold, and Great Zimbabwe became the center of a vast and lucrative trade network. Gold from the surrounding mines was brought to the city, where it was processed and then traded. But they didn't just trade raw materials. The artisans of Great Zimbabwe were highly skilled. They crafted intricate gold beads, pendants, and foils. This wasn't just about wealth. It was about showcasing their sophistication. The kingdom's influence stretched far beyond its stone walls. Archaeologists have unearthed artifacts from distant lands, right here in the heart of Africa. Chinese porcelain, Persian pottery, and glass beads from India have all been found at the site. This tells us that Great Zimbabwe was a key player in the Indian Ocean trade network. Caravans would depart from the city, carrying gold, ivory, and animal skins, traveling hundreds of miles to coastal ports, like Sofala. In modern day, there, they would trade with Swahili merchants, who in turn sailed the monsoon winds to Arabia, India, and even as far as China. This city was not an isolated kingdom. It was a cosmopolitan hub, a crucial link connecting the African interior with the rest of the world. This global connection brought immense wealth and power to its rulers, allowing them to fund the construction of the monumental stone structures that still stand today. One of the most iconic symbols of Great Zimbabwe are the Zimbabwe birds. These are 8 intricately carved soapstone sculptures of birds, each perched atop a stone monolith. These aren't just decorative items. They are powerful symbols packed with meaning. Each bird is unique, but they share common features, blending the characteristics of a bird of prey, possibly an eagle, with human elements like lips and 5-toed feet instead of talons. What do they represent? The most widely accepted theory is that they are emblems of royalty, connecting the ruling dynasty to the heavens. The eagle is a powerful creature that flies between the earth and the sky, and in Shona spirituality, it's seen as a messenger to the creator god. So, these birds likely symbolize the king's sacred authority, his role as a divine link between his people and the spiritual world. They were probably placed in sacred areas of the city, like the hill complex, watching over the kingdom. Today, the Zimbabwe bird is the national emblem of the modern nation of Zimbabwe, a powerful link between the country's ancient past and its present identity. By the mid-15th century, after 300 years of dominance, Great Zimbabwe began to decline. The city, that was once home to nearly 20,000 people, was gradually abandoned. But why? What could cause such a powerful civilization to collapse? There wasn't one single reason, but likely a combination of factors. One leading theory points to environmental strain. A city of this size would have required vast resources. Overgrazing by the kingdom's massive cattle herds could have exhausted the land. Deforestation for firewood and construction would have stripped the surrounding hills bare. It's possible that a period of climate change, perhaps a prolonged drought, made agriculture unsustainable. The very success of the city may have sown the seeds of its downfall. Another major factor was the shifting of trade routes. The gold trade that had been the lifeblood of the kingdom began to move north, towards the Zambezi River. Newer, competing states like Kami and Mutapa rose to prominence, diverting the flow of wealth and power away from Great Zimbabwe. As resources dwindled and trade routes shifted, the city's political and economic power waned. People began to leave, migrating to more prosperous regions. The Great Stone City slowly fell silent, its walls left to the elements, its purpose and history fading into memory. When the first Portuguese traders and explorers arrived in the region in the 16th century, they heard local stories of a great stone city, but they couldn't find it. For centuries, Great Zimbabwe remained a legend. It wasn't until the late 19th century that European hunters, like Adam Render and Karl Morsch, stumbled upon the ruins. What they saw amazed them, but their colonial mindset refused to accept the truth. They couldn't believe that indigenous Africans could have built something so magnificent, and so began a dark chapter of denial and misinformation. Theories were concocted to attribute the city to anyone but Africans. Some said it was the work of ancient Phoenicians. Others claimed it was the biblical land of Ophir, the site of King Solomon's mines. These racist theories were designed to deny Africa its own history, to justify colonial rule by claiming the continent had no advanced civilizations of its own. Archaeologists and historians, fueled by prejudice, even damaged parts of the site in their misguided search for known African artifacts. It took decades of rigorous scientific research, led by archaeologists like David Randall Meekever and Gertrude Catton Thompson, to set the record straight. Their work in the early 20th century provided irrefutable proof. Great Zimbabwe was, without a doubt, a product of indigenous African ingenuity. The artifacts, the building styles, the oral traditions of the local Shona, Palal pointed to a single, clear conclusion. The fight to reclaim this history was long and difficult, but it was a crucial victory. Today, Great Zimbabwe stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a testament to the continent's rich and complex past. It's more than just a collection of ancient ruins. It's a symbol of national pride and a powerful counter-narrative to centuries of colonial myths. It reminds us that incredible achievements in architecture, trade, and social organization flourished in Africa long before European arrival. The story of Great Zimbabwe is a story of human brilliance, resilience, and the enduring power of culture. It is a reminder that history is often more complex and more amazing than we are led to believe, and that some of the greatest stories are still waiting to be discovered, written not in books, but in stone. Why would a kingdom build walls that stretch for kilometers? Not for defense, but for symbolism. Great Zimbabwe, its name means great houses of stone, and it's a title well-earned. Imagine a sprawling city, home to nearly 20,000 people, all centered around monumental structures built without a single drop of mortar. These aren't just any walls. They are masterpieces of drystone construction, a testament to the incredible skill of their builders. The most iconic structure here is the Great Enclosure. It's massive. Curving walls stand up to 11 meters high, and are over 5 meters thick in some places. When you approach it, the scale is just breathtaking. You feel small, humbled by the sheer ambition of the people who built this. These walls weren't designed to keep invaders out. There are no battlements, no arrow slits, no defensive fortifications you'd expect from a medieval fortress. Instead, these walls were about prestige, power, and separating the sacred from the mundane. They were a statement. As you walk through the narrow, winding passages, the stonework is hypnotic. Each granite block was carefully shaped and placed, fitting perfectly with its neighbors. The patterns are deliberate, with some sections decorated with a chevron design running along the top. This wasn't just construction, this was art. The walls were designed to impress visitors, to showcase the king's wealth and authority, and to create an awe-inspiring environment for religious ceremonies. They marked sacred spaces, royal areas, and processional pathways, guiding people through a landscape charged with meaning. Inside the great enclosure stands the mysterious conical tower. It's a solid stone structure, nearly 10 meters high, with no internal chambers or stairs. Its purpose is one of Great Zimbabwe's greatest enigmas. What was it for? Theories abound. Some historians believe it was a symbolic granary, representing the king's control over food and his ability to provide for his people. In a society reliant on agriculture, controlling the grain supply meant controlling everything. So, the tower would have been a powerful symbol of royal benevolence and prosperity. But other theories suggest a more spiritual purpose. Could it have been an astronomical observatory? Or a representation of a Shona phallic symbol, celebrating fertility and the continuity of the royal dynasty? Perhaps it was a tribute to the ancestors, a focal point for rituals connecting the living king with the spirit world. The truth is, we don't know for sure. The tower stands silent, its secrets locked in stone, inviting us to wonder and imagine the ceremonies that once took place in its shadow. Walking inside the great enclosure today feels like stepping into another world. The sheer granite walls absorb sound, creating a serene, almost sacred atmosphere. You can hear the echoes of your own footsteps on the stone paths. The air feels cool, and if you listen closely, it almost feels like the stones are whispering stories of the people who lived, worshipped, and ruled here centuries ago. You can picture the royal court, the priests, the artisans, all part of a vibrant society that flourished within these walls. It's a powerful, almost spiritual experience, connecting you directly to a magnificent past. But how did this kingdom become so powerful? What financed the construction of these incredible stone monuments? The answer lies not just in stone, but in something much more precious: gold. What made Great Zimbabwe rich enough to influence trade across the African continent and beyond? It was its control over a vast and lucrative gold trade. This wasn't just a kingdom. It was an economic powerhouse, the center of a sprawling international network. The city was strategically located between the gold fields of the interior plateau and the bustling port cities of the Swahili coast. Great Zimbabwe controlled the trade routes that stretched from the gold mines of what is now Zimbabwe to the markets of the Indian Ocean. From the key port of Kilwa, located in modern-day Tanzania, gold from Great Zimbabwe flowed out to the world. It reached Arabia, Persia, India, and even as far as China. This was a global trade network, and Great Zimbabwe was at its very heart. In return for its gold and ivory, the kingdom received luxury goods from across the globe. Archaeologists excavating the site have found incredible artifacts that paint a picture of a cosmopolitan society. They've unearthed Chinese celadon porcelain from the Ming Dynasty, colorful glass beads from India, and intricately decorated ceramics from Persia. These weren't just trinkets. They were symbols of status and wealth, proof that Great Zimbabwe was no isolated kingdom lost in the African interior. It was a sophisticated, urban center with connections to the far corners of the known world. This evidence completely shatters the old colonial-era myth that such a complex society couldn't have been built by native Africans. The porcelain, the beads, the foreign coins, they all tell a story of a powerful African kingdom that was a major player on the world stage. They were masters of trade, diplomacy, and logistics, managing a complex supply chain that spanned continents. It is truly surprising to think about how these global connections existed long before we invented the word globalization. Imagine the traders and merchants who made this possible. They journeyed for months across difficult terrain, navigating by the stars and their deep knowledge of the land. They had no modern ships, no compasses, no GPS. All they had was courage, endurance, and a sophisticated understanding of geography and politics. They connected cultures and economies, exchanging not just goods, but ideas, technologies, and stories. The people of Great Zimbabwe didn't just trade with the world, they were an integral part of it. But around the mid-15th century, Great Zimbabwe began to decline. Why would such a powerful city suddenly be abandoned? The reasons are complex and still debated by scholars. It was likely a combination of factors. One leading theory points to environmental change. After centuries of supporting a large population, the surrounding land may have become exhausted. Deforestation for firewood, overgrazing by cattle, and soil depletion could have made it impossible to sustain the city's inhabitants. The climate may have also shifted, leading to droughts and making agriculture unreliable. Political instability probably played a role as well. As trade routes shifted, new power centers emerged, challenging Great Zimbabwe's dominance. The Kingdom of Mutapa to the north and the Torwa Kingdom to the west began to rise, diverting the flow of gold and trade away from the old capital. Internal power struggles within the royal family could have further weakened the state, making it unable to respond to these growing challenges. Eventually, the city's residents began to leave, migrating to areas with better resources and new opportunities. By the 16th century, the Great Stone City was largely deserted. The walls that once bustled with life fell silent, left to the wind and the rain. They concocted elaborate, racist theories, attributing the city to everyone from the Phoenicians to the Queen of Sheba. It was a deliberate attempt to deny the history and achievements of the Shona people. It took decades of painstaking archaeological work to debunk these myths and restore Great Zimbabwe to its rightful place in African history. Today, it stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a powerful symbol of national pride for the people of Zimbabwe. It's a testament to a rich, pre-colonial past and a powerful reminder of the ingenuity and resilience of its builders. Visiting Great Zimbabwe is more than just a history lesson. It's a journey of discovery. It challenges our preconceptions about the past and reveals a world that was far more interconnected and complex than we often imagine. It's a story written in stone, a story of power, faith, trade, and ultimately, of a civilization that rose to incredible heights and left behind a legacy that continues to inspire awe and wonder. Have you ever wondered how you could build an entire city of stone without cement? Without a single iron tool? Without even a single blueprint to guide you? It sounds impossible, but 900 years ago, in the heart of southern Africa, a civilization did just that. A city built with genius, instinct, and a deep connection to the earth itself. Imagine a team of builders staring at a massive granite hill. Their mission is to turn this solid rock into a thriving city. But they don't have modern explosives or powerful drills, so what do? They use the elements. They light huge fires against the rock face, heating it until it's almost glowing. Then, they douse it with cold water. The sudden temperature shock causes the granite to crack, splitting along its natural grain into remarkably uniform, brick-like blocks. It's a technique that's both incredibly simple and profoundly intelligent, working with nature, not against it. With their stones ready, the real magic began. The walls of Great Zimbabwe rise up to 11 meters high and stretch for over 250 meters. But if you look closely, you won't find a single drop of mortar holding them together. This is dry stone construction at its most masterful. Each stone was carefully chosen and placed, fitting together like a three-dimensional puzzle. The builders didn't just stack them. They angled each layer slightly inward, using gravity itself as their binding agent. Every block interlocks with its neighbors, creating a structure so stable that it has withstood the test of centuries through seasons of rain, wind, and the relentless passage of time. Walking alongside these walls today, you can't help but feel a sense of awe. You can run your hand over the cool, weathered stone and feel the precision in every joint. It's a testament to a different kind of knowledge. These builders didn't rely on formulas or external materials to hold their world together. They trusted their own skill, their hands, and the traditions passed down through generations. This wasn't just construction, it was craftsmanship, elevated to an art form, an engineering marvel built on pure mastery. Now, let's climb higher. Above the sprawling city lies the oldest and most sacred area, the hill complex. As you ascend the winding stone path, you have to ask yourself, why did the kings of Great Zimbabwe choose this rugged, wind-swept hilltop? Was it simply for a strategic view of the valley below, or was it for something far more profound? The answer is both. From here, a ruler could see everything: their kingdom, their people, their wealth. It was a statement of power, but the hill complex was more than just a fortress or a palace. It was the spiritual heart of the empire. Built among giant, ancient boulders that look like sleeping giants, the structures here feel different. They are woven into the natural landscape. Chambers and passages aren't just built on the rock, they are part of it. Some are tucked between boulders, using the natural stone as walls and roofs. This design wasn't just practical, it was symbolic. It represented a deep connection to the earth and, through it, to the ancestors who were believed to inhabit the spiritual world. The king who lived here wasn't just a political leader. He was a spiritual intermediary, a bridge between the living and the dead. The rituals performed in these sacred enclosures were believed to ensure the prosperity of the kingdom, to bring rain, to guarantee a good harvest, and to protect the people. This was a place where worldly power and divine authority became one. The king's legitimacy came not just from his armies or his wealth in gold and ivory, but from his connection to this sacred ground. If you ever get the chance to stand on the hill complex at sunset, you'll understand. As the sun dips below the horizon, the entire valley is bathed in a warm, golden light. The massive granite boulders around you seem to glow from within. In that moment, the noise of the modern world fades away, and you can almost feel the presence of the past. You understand why a king would choose this spot. It feels like a place where the veil between worlds is thin. A place chosen not by man, but by the ancestors themselves. It is a powerful reminder that some places on earth hold stories that stone and sky have been telling for 1,000 years. From the spiritual heights of the hill complex, let's descend into the heart of the city's commercial and social life. The Great Enclosure. This is the most iconic structure of Great Zimbabwe, and it's here that the architectural genius we saw earlier reaches its zenith. The first thing that strikes you is the scale. The outer wall is a masterpiece of stonework, a smooth, curving barrier that feels both elegant and impossibly strong. As you walk through the narrow passages, The walls tower over you, creating a sense of intimacy and grandeur at the same time. Inside, you find the mysterious conical tower. Standing 10 meters tall, its purpose remains one of history's great puzzles. It's not a watchtower, as it has no steps to climb. It's not a dwelling. Some historians believe it represents a royal grain bin, a symbol of the king's ability to provide for his people and a sign of good harvests and prosperity. Others suggest it has a more abstract, symbolic meaning, its shape echoing traditional African forms. Whatever its purpose, it stands as a silent, powerful centerpiece to the entire complex, a focal point of a civilization's beliefs. Touching these stones, you realize the society that built this was incredibly organized. Constructing the great enclosure would have required thousands of people, a coordinated labor force, and a shared vision. It speaks of a stable, wealthy, and confident society at the peak of its power. The word Zimbabwe itself means great houses of stone in the Shona language. It's a powerful link to the past, a declaration that the legacy of this incredible civilization is the foundation of the modern nation. Visiting Great Zimbabwe is more than just a history lesson. It's a journey that challenges our perceptions of the past. It shows us that innovation, engineering, and monumental architecture were not exclusive to one part of the world. Here, in the heart of Africa, a civilization created a masterpiece that stands shoulder to shoulder with the great ancient wonders of the world. It is a powerful story of human ingenuity, and a reminder that the greatest legacies are often built not with force, but with wisdom, patience, and a deep respect for the world around us. We've explored its awe-inspiring architecture and bustling trade routes. But to truly understand this city of stone, we have to look deeper into the hearts and minds of its people. What did they believe in, and how did their faith shape every aspect of their society? From the smallest home to the mightiest walls, at the very core of the faith was a profound connection to the spiritual realm, a belief system centered on ancestral spirits. They believed that their ancestors continued to exist as powerful spirits, watching over their descendants, offering guidance, and influencing their fortunes. This wasn't just a casual belief, it was the foundation of their entire existence. The living and the Vadzima were in a constant, dynamic relationship. To maintain this crucial connection, life in Great Zimbabwe was filled with ceremonies, offerings, and rituals. These weren't just special occasions, they were an integral part of daily life. People would make offerings of food, beer, and other precious items to honor their ancestors and ask for their favor. They sought blessings for good harvests, healthy children, and protection from harm. Every significant life event, from birth to death, was marked by rituals that reinforced the bond between the physical and spiritual worlds. When you understand this spiritual framework, the layout and architecture of Great Zimbabwe suddenly make perfect sense. Every stone, every wall, and every enclosure was built with deep spiritual meaning. The famous Great Enclosure, with its massive, elegant walls, wasn't just a fortress or a royal palace. It was a sacred space, the stage for the most important national ceremonies, to a place that shatters the old, tired narratives of a continent disconnected from the world. Let's start with a question. How did a city, built hundreds of kilometers from any coastline, manage to influence markets in Arabia, India, and even as far away as China? It seems impossible, right? But the evidence is literally etched in stone and buried in the earth. Get the image of an isolated kingdom. This was a bustling international hub. Caravans of traders embarked on monumental journeys, walking dusty, well-trodden paths for months on end. They traveled hundreds, if not thousands, of kilometers across the vast African landscape. What were they carrying? The wealth of the land, gold, mined from the rich plateaus, was a primary export. Ivory, sourced from the immense elephant herds of the savannah, was another highly prized commodity. And cattle, the backbone of the economy and a symbol of wealth, were also traded. These goods were the engine of Great Zimbabwe's power, drawing merchants from distant lands. And what did they bring back in return? This is where the story gets truly fascinating. Archaeologists, digging among the ruins, have unearthed a treasure trove of international goods. They found beautiful, intricately decorated bowls from Persia, now modern-day Iran, they've uncovered delicate shards of Chinese porcelain, remnants of fine ceramics that traveled across the Indian Ocean. And they've found countless glass beads from Arabia, colorful trinkets that were as valuable as currency. These artifacts aren't just objects, they're proof. They prove that Great Zimbabwe wasn't on the periphery of the world stage. It was a key player. It was a globally connected trade empire, a vital node in a network that stretched across continents. It's just incredible to imagine those merchants, after months of travel, finally seeing the stone towers of the city rising from the plains, their bags filled with foreign treasures destined for the elite of this powerful African kingdom. Now, let's zoom in from the vast trade routes to the city itself. At its peak, around the 14th century, Great Zimbabwe was the capital of a massive kingdom, ruling over an estimated 300 smaller settlements. It was the political, economic, and spiritual center of a vast territory. But what was it actually like to live within these impressive stone walls? What did you see, hear, and smell? First, let's talk about scale. Modern estimates suggest that as many as 20,000 people lived within the city and its immediate surroundings. To put that in perspective, that was comparable to, or even larger than, many major European cities of the same era. Like London, this wasn't a small village. It was a sprawling, densely populated metropolis. The city was alive, buzzing like a living organism. The society was highly structured. At the top was the king, or Mambo, who held immense political and spiritual power. He likely lived within the most impressive structure, the Great Enclosure. Its towering, mortarless walls, a clear symbol of his authority. Surrounding him was a wealthy elite, the nobles and merchants who benefited most from the lucrative trade networks. Then you had the artisans, the craftspeople who were the lifeblood of the city's internal economy. And finally, the farmers and herders who sustained the massive population. So, let's take a walk through the city. The famous stone structures we see today were likely the homes of the ruling class and important ceremonial sites. But most of the 20,000 residents lived in homes made of daga, a mixture of clay and gravel, often with thatched roofs. These circular houses were arranged in family courtyards, creating a dense, communal living space. Imagine children playing games of tag, their laughter echoing between the stone walls and the daga huts. Picture artisans sitting in the shade, skillfully crafting gold into intricate jewelry, carving soapstone into the famous Zimbabwe birds, or weaving textiles. The valleys around the city would have been filled with the kingdom's most valuable asset, cattle. The sound of their lowing would have been a constant backdrop to city life. It wasn't a silent, empty ruin. It was a vibrant, noisy, and dynamic African city. Just try to imagine the sounds at night, drums beating in rhythmic celebration or ceremony, the flickering glow of hundreds of fires across the valley, families gathered, sharing stories under a blanket of stars. This was a thriving African metropolis in every sense of the word. But like all great empires, Great Zimbabwe's golden age eventually came to an end. By the late 15th century, the city began to decline, and within a few decades, it was largely abandoned. The big question is, why? What could cause such a powerful and populous city to fade into obscurity? The truth is, there's no single, simply answer. Historians and archaeologists believe it was likely a combination of factors, a perfect storm that brought about the city's collapse. One of the most compelling theories centers on the environment. Supporting 20,000 people and their vast herds of cattle would have put immense strain on the local resources. Over time, the land may have become overgrazed. The forests would have been cleared for firewood and to make way for farming. This deforestation could have led to soil erosion and a decline in agricultural productivity. A series of droughts, which we know occurred in the region, could have been the final straw, making it impossible to feed the city's massive population. The very success of Great Zimbabwe may have contained the seeds of its own downfall. Another major factor was likely a shift in those all-important trade routes. The gold trade, which was the bedrock of the kingdom's wealth, began to move north. New power centers emerged closer to the Zambezi River, offering more direct access for traders arriving from the coast. As the flow of gold, and therefore wealth, was diverted away from Great Zimbabwe, its economic power would have waned. The ruling elite would have lost their primary source of income and influence, weakening the central authority that held the kingdom together. Internal political strife could have also played a significant role. As resources became scarcer and wealth declined, competition and conflict among the ruling class likely intensified. The kingdom may have fractured into smaller, competing factions, making it impossible to maintain the complex social and political structure of the capital. It's a classic story we see throughout history. When the economy falters, political stability often follows. So, it wasn't a sudden catastrophe, but more likely a gradual decline. People didn't vanish overnight. They slowly moved away, seeking better land and new opportunities, until the once mighty city fell silent, its great stone walls left to the wind and time. So what is the legacy of Great Zimbabwe today? It's immense. First and foremost, the site itself is a powerful symbol of African achievement and ingenuity. For a long time, colonial historians refused to believe that indigenous Africans could have built such a sophisticated structure. They came up with all sorts of ridiculous theories, attributing it to everyone from the Phoenicians to ancient Arabs. But archaeology has proven them wrong. Unequivocally, Great Zimbabwe was built by the ancestors of the modern Shona people. It stands as a monumental testament to a pre-colonial African civilization that was complex, wealthy, and globally connected. When the nation of Rhodesia gained its independence in 1980, it chose to rename itself Zimbabwe, meaning houses of stone in the Shona language. The new country adopted the image of the carved soapstone bird found at the ruins as its national emblem. This act reclaimed the history and heritage that had been denied for so long. Great Zimbabwe is more than just an archaeological site. It is a source of national pride and a symbol of identity for the people of Zimbabwe and for the entire African continent. It challenges us to rethink our understanding of history. It proves that sophisticated urban centers, vast trade networks, and complex societies flourished in Africa long before the arrival of Europeans. It's a reminder that history is not a single story written by one group of people, but a rich, diverse tapestry woven from threads all over the world. The silent stones of Great Zimbabwe speak volumes, telling a story of power, culture, and a brilliant African past. Have you ever heard a story so powerful it was deliberately buried? Not just a story, but the history of an entire civilization. For centuries, a magnificent stone city stood in southern Africa, its origins shrouded in mystery and, believe it or not, intentional lies. For decades, this false story was taught as fact. It was a lie carved in stone, a deliberate erasure of history. But stone, as it turns out, doesn't lie forever. What happens when science finally tells the real story? That's when the truth begins to fight back. In the early 20th century, a new wave of archaeologists arrived at Great Zimbabwe. But this team, they brought something different: scientific methodology. They weren't there to prove a preconceived fantasy. They were there to follow the evidence, wherever it led. One of the most pivotal figures was a British archaeologist named Gertrude Thompson. She was a trailblazer, meticulous and unwilling to bow to the colonial establishment's racist narratives. In 1929, she led a landmark excavation. Instead of just looking at the surface, she dug deep, layer by layer, into the city's foundations. What she and other researchers found was extraordinary. They unearthed a treasure trove of artifacts that painted a vivid picture of a thriving, complex society. They found exquisite royal artifacts, hinting at a powerful monarchy. They discovered beautifully crafted gold bracelets and beads, showcasing advanced metalworking skills. Gertrude Thompson's conclusion, based on this mountain of scientific evidence, was irrefutable. She stated unequivocally that the ruins were of Bantu origin, meaning they were built by the ancestors of the local African people. She systematically dismantled every single one of the exotic foreign builder theories. Her work was a bombshell. She faced immense criticism and resistance from the colonial government of what was then Rhodesia, who refused to accept her findings. They wanted to maintain the myth of an empty, uncivilized land. But the scientific facts were undeniable. The truth was out. Every artifact recovered from the soil of Great Zimbabwe is more than just an object. It's not just a gold bracelet or a piece of pottery. It is a piece of dignity restored. It's a testament to a history that was stolen, and then, through painstaking work, it's a validation of a people's heritage. Against a tide of prejudice, the science didn't just rewrite a chapter of history, it helped to restore the soul of a nation. So, why is this ancient city so important that it is woven into the very fabric of a modern nation? Why does Great Zimbabwe appear on the country's money, its flag, and its very name? The country, Zimbabwe, literally means Great Houses of Stone in the Shona language. The connection couldn't be more direct. When the nation gained its independence in 1980, it shed its colonial name, Rhodesia, and chose a name that anchored its identity in this powerful, pre-colonial African legacy. The most iconic symbol to emerge from the ruins is the Zimbabwe bird. These 8 magnificent sculptures, carved from soft soapstone, were found in the city's most sacred enclosures. Each bird is unique, a stylized representation of a fish eagle or Battler eagle perched atop a column. The original purpose of these birds is still debated by scholars. They could represent ancestors, act as emblems of royalty, or serve as spiritual messengers, but their modern meaning is crystal clear. The Zimbabwe bird became the ultimate national emblem. It's on the flag, the coat of arms, the currency, and official insignia. It is a constant reminder to every Zimbabwean of their deep, rich history. The ruins of Great Zimbabwe symbolize so much more than just old stones. They represent African ingenuity, the skill it took to build these massive, mortarless stone walls, some reaching over 11 meters high. They symbolize pre-colonial greatness, a time when a powerful African kingdom flourished on its own terms, long before European arrival. They are a source of immense cultural identity and economic heritage, showcasing a history of global trade and prosperity. But for the people of Zimbabwe, it's something more personal. To Zimbabweans, this is not just ruins. It is pride carved in stone. It is the physical proof of a magnificent past and the foundation for a resilient future. Let's take a closer look at the city itself, because its architecture is a marvel of engineering. The city is divided into 3 main areas: the hill complex, the valley complex, and the most famous part, the Great Enclosure. The hill complex is the oldest part, perched on a granite hill overlooking the valley. This was likely the spiritual and royal center, a place for chiefs and priests. Its winding stone passages and enclosures feel ancient and sacred. Then you have the Great Enclosure, the largest single ancient structure in all of sub-Saharan Africa. This is what most people picture when they think of Great Zimbabwe. Its most impressive feature is a massive outer wall, over 250 meters in circumference. The walls were built using a technique called dry stone walling. This means no mortar was used to hold the millions of granite blocks together. They were just expertly cut and fitted. Think about the level of skill and planning required to build something on this scale. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Inside the Great Enclosure is the conical tower. It's a solid, 10-meter-high stone tower with no doors or stairs, and its purpose remains one of the city's greatest mysteries. Some speculate it was a granary, symbolizing the king's wealth and ability to provide for his people. Others suggest a more symbolic, phallic, meaning related to fertility and power. Whatever its function, it stands as a silent, powerful testament to the city's builders. The story of Great Zimbabwe is a powerful lesson in how history is written, and by whom. For so long, the narrative was controlled by those who sought to diminish its builders. But archaeology, when done honestly, can be a tool for justice. It can give a voice back to the people who were silenced. Today, visiting Great Zimbabwe is a profound experience. Walking through the stone corridors, you can almost hear the echoes of a bustling capital. The sounds of trade, ceremony, and daily life. You can feel the weight of history in the air. It's a place that commands respect and inspires awe. It's also a place of healing. For Zimbabweans, it's a pilgrimage site, a place to connect with their roots and celebrate their heritage. It stands as a powerful symbol of resilience, showing that even when a history is buried under lies, the truth, like the stone walls themselves, will endure. This incredible city reminds us that history is not a settled, static thing. It's constantly being rediscovered and The story of Great Zimbabwe teaches us to question the narratives we're given, to look for the evidence, and to listen to the stories that the stones themselves have to tell. It's a story of a lost city found, of a stolen history reclaimed, and of a national pride that was quite literally built to last. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please like, share, and subscribe for more adventures into our incredible shared history. See you next time.